kind of material in it too. And believe it or not, my husband has started stitching, so I actually pulled out a couple of pieces from my trunk and gave them to him, and he actually stitched them. He stitched one piece in 2 days, and he said, "Is there any more?" And I went, "Oh, yes, there is."
Wow.
Oh.
I see the possibility of a new teacher designer on the forefront here. You know, I see that happening. I mean, that's kind of the story, you know, that happened with Tony Manieri. Is he started stitching and then he couldn't stop.
And I just had a class with him for 2 days on Saturday and Sunday, so that was quite delightful. And
where was that class?
It was here in Chicago, and I learned a ton, and I can incorporate some of his teachings into mine, my designs, my teaching, and I've known Tony for years and years and years, so never had a chance to take a class, and this was a chance, and I just grabbed it.
Wow. What did he teach? What
He was teaching his Patterns of the Orient.
Oh, that's a gorgeous piece.
Yes.
That's challenging. It's a very challenging piece.
Oh, yes.
It's a challenging piece, you know. For those of you who have taken classes with Tony, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And for those of you who Tony is, you know, you've never had a class with the master, well, you know, then you're in for a treat because Tony really does stretch your boundaries.
Yeah.
You know, if you think I can only do up to X, you know, Tony makes sure you do Y, Z, and Z1, Z2, Z3.
And he loves to layer.
Yes. And how big of a stitch can we fit in how small of an area? You know, but the truth is that when you take a class with Tony, when you finish it, you look at it and you say, you never imagined that you could do this. So it really, for those of you who are local, you know, Tony really teaches all over. He taught a class here in the fall, and we'll have Tony back here again. I'm not sure what we're teaching next with him, but, you know, just keep checking back on our website or give us a buzz here at the shop, and we'll let you know when Tony is returning. But you know what? So we talked about the Needlepoint Now article. So we kind of, you know, went in an odd order. Usually what I ask designers is, you know, when did they first start stitching, and how did you get started designing? So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
I actually have been stitching all my life. A lot of designers have, and my grandmother got me started, you know, the proverbial design stamped on the pillowcase. And I graduated from that. My grandmother actually designed hooked rugs, and I started doing a little hooking. Rugs, that is. And
oh, that's good. You know, okay, Libby, maybe I didn't tell you. This is a family show.
I know.
We try to keep it G-rated here. Okay, we're moving right along.
Yes, and then my aunt actually designed 12 dining room chair seats, and all of us started stitching on those because she said, I can't do it by myself. So she actually taught me basket weave, which was very unusual way back when, and I helped her with the backgrounds of her dining room chairs. And when fast forward quite a number of years, when I graduated from college, I had a hard time finding a job in advertising, especially out here in Chicago, because a couple of firms had closed. And I just happened to look in a local newspaper, found an ad. They wanted a production painter for a needlepoint company. And I answered the ad, got the job, and I was one of those people who paint multiples of designs for a company. And that's how I started. And I actually started taking lessons then from the in-house stitcher guru, and she taught me more than basket weave. She said there are a lot of stitches, which absolutely fascinated me because, you know, when you first start, you just think there's basket weave and continental and there's nothing else and how boring that is. And she opened up this book. She opened up my mind. She opened up my mind to threads because she was not one to stick with just patterning in wool. She just went out there and grabbed and stitched. It was so inspiring. It was unbelievable. And that's when I really started. So that was, believe it or not, 1971. So I was a young sprout, needed money, got the job, and from there it just blossomed.
Well, for everybody who is sitting at your computers, and I know you're sitting at your computers, guys, why don't we take a look at Libby's website, which is www.justlibby, Libby Designs, that's with an S at the end, .com. Just Libby Designs, okay? So if we can go to that, in fact, let me come up to your main page. One of the things that, you are obviously very famous for are your Santas.
Yes.
You have Santa doing everything.
I'm known as the Santa lady, so.
But they are wonderful. If you go, actually, guys, we're going to click on products for a second. And the first line that's up there, I have to ask you to explain because I know everybody's gone, what? It says, Just Libby Designs are line-drawn canvases with complete stitch guides. So tell me how your pieces come.
They come, as you said, line-drawn, and you get a full book of directions, a photograph, needles, any findings that are unusual, like unusual beads or female pieces or anything like that. And the reason why I started with the line drawings is similar when we talked about the tulip. You can change the colors. If you don't like red and it's painted red, you're sort of stuck with red unless you go to an orange or a pink, something that might blend in. You really can't stitch too well blue over a red. So that's why I did the line drawings. So you can pick your Santa, and you can pick the color coat you want. You can pick the kind of fur you want, the kind of boots you want, any colors. But again, the most important thing is to use the same fibers that I used in the design, just change the color. Might sound a little intimidating, but it really isn't, because all you need to do is to go to your favorite needlework shop and say, I like the Santa, but I really don't want a red coat. Can you help me? And you just look up what I used. Like if I used a Splendor red and you want blue, your needlework shop can help you pick out your favorite color.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, especially with Splendor, guys, there are like 500 choices of color. So
yes.
maybe you wanted red, but you didn't want, cherry red. That's okay. Because Rainbow Gallery has made sure that there are like 26 shades of red out there. So don't worry about it.
Yes.
But you know what? One of the pieces that I actually put on this week's newsletter, and for those of you who don't get my newsletter, it's really easy to sign up. Either send me an email or I believe you can sign up on our website now, was the Wine Country Santa.
Yes, that's purple.
Yes, well, it's the colors of our shop, which are purple and green. So.
Oh, great.
This is just a fabulous piece, guys. This Santa has a purple coat, and his staff it's like upside down grapes.
Yes. Yep.
I'm looking at a very small picture of it, so I apologize. I think it's time to go back to the eye doctor.
He carries a basket of grapes, and he has a little acorn type ending to his hat on top. And I'm glad you picked that piece, because that is the bestseller of my line ever.
Wow.
Ever. Absolutely ever. And people don't believe this, but it actually put both of my girls through college, Mr. and Mrs. Wine Country Santa. So you can imagine how many I sold.
Oh my! Well, yeah. That is. I just happened to pick it because I loved it, but I didn't know that everybody else loved it.
Oh.
And let's see, I'm going to pick something completely different now, which is Needlepoint Paradise. And this is Santa after he's taken his vacation.
Yes. It's the day after.